Hello, this is John from GED Math Lessons, and I want to talk about a key math tip when you're taking the GED exam. Okay, and right here, you can see I have it in this box, is look at the answers. So you're saying, well, that's great. What does that mean? So let's go ahead and talk about this. So once again, I'm John from GEDMathLessons.com. And if you haven't heard of my site, it's a free video-based math course, very comprehensive, very, very effective and successful, and growing quite rapidly, I might say, since I launched it. Helping people pass a GED. So anyways, let's go right to this tip and what I'm talking about. So here I kind of made an example question up, and you may not see questions exactly like this on a GED, but you'll understand the point. So in a multiple choice format, which the new GED format is, you're going to get some various questions, math, and I'm only speaking about math here. And it might be something like this. So here it is. What is the solution to the equation? So I have this big, intimidating equation, and you're saying to yourself, well, wow, how would you approach this? And so actually, I'm going to pause here for a second, give you about 5 seconds to think about it. How would you approach this question? So probably a lot of you would be thinking, initial reaction to it. We're like, well, you know what? Do I know how to do this question? Do I know how to solve this type of equation? So those of you out there are like, yeah, I think I know how to solve it. You might start doing some work here, and you might kind of go through it, and that's great. But you know what? That's not necessarily the best way to approach this. Okay, so because there's risk in that. What if you don't know how to solve this equation? You just kind of spend some time, and you're like, well, I think I'm doing it right. I don't know. Listen, this particular math tip is look at the answers, and it's very important. So these questions are often structured where they want to know if you have good test taking strategy. So the idea here is, hey, remember with the GED, listen, the goal is for you to pass. Okay, it's not like, hey, to demonstrate whether you know something about equations. Not from my perspective, and I'm a math teacher. My mission is for you to pass the exam so you can get your GED and move on to bigger and better things. So we want to earn points, right, and get this question answered correctly. How you do that is neither here or there, as long as you have a good strategy. So let's take a look at this tip. So here, without even knowing how to approach this or start working this equation out, I'm going to look at the answers. Now, in mathematics, the answers often give us a lot of clues, especially in equation problems. So before I can demonstrate this here, I just want to show you very quickly, okay? In mathematics, when you have an equation, I'll write a simple equation here, 2x equals 8. Okay? In mathematics, the left-hand side of the equation, this part, will always equal the value of the right-hand part. So whatever this represents, 2 times x, okay, that left-hand value must be equal to this right-hand value. In this case, it's 8. Okay? And the variable represents the value that actually makes that happen. So let me ask you, I'll ask you this almost as a riddle. 2 times x, remember x represents some number, so let's phrase it this way. 2 times some number is 8. 2 times some number is 8. So you kind of think about it like, well, let me see here. 2 times, maybe 4, right? Yeah, so 2 times 4 is 8. Okay, because 2 times 4 is 8, and 8 equals 8, and the left-hand side equals the right-hand side when x was equal to the value of 4. Okay, so maybe many of you out there probably say, yeah, I understand that. Great. So what's my point? Well, let me hold on here because some of you out there may not have understood this. Okay, so in an equation, really, what we're asking here is, hey, what value of x, when I plug it in right here and here, will make this whole left-hand side equal to 14? You follow what I'm saying? So what value of x, when I plug it in to to this part of the equation, and this part of the equation will make it all equal to 14 on the left-hand side. Okay, so what does that mean? Well, let's say you don't have any idea how to solve this equation. And by the way, this is a quadratic equation, and it would require a pretty good level of algebra knowledge to solve this equation properly. But what I can do is just plug in these numbers. This is the math tip. If I have an equation and I have one of these is the correct answer, all I need to do is check. So let's start with -3. Okay, so I'll plug it in, and when I plug it in, I want to use parentheses. So I'm going to plug it into the equation and just check. So it's going to be 4 -3 squared minus -3 equals 14. So I'm going to start doing the math here, and I'm going to see if this is going to, to work. So I go, okay, -3 squared, I have to do that first, is -3 times -3. And hopefully you're at the point where you kind of understand, okay, a negative times a negative is a positive. If not, don't worry about it. Come on over to GED Math Lessons. I'll teach you everything you need to know. But let's kind of go back over here for those of you who do know. -3 times -3 is +9. So this is going to be 4 times 9 minus a -3 is the same thing as a +3. And once again, if you don't quite understand this or remember this, don't worry, come on over to GED Math Lessons. I'll teach you what you need to know. Okay, so here clearly I'm going to get 36 plus 3. This is not, the left-hand side is not going to equal to the right-hand side. There's no way. And some of you might have recognized that when you plug it in, like, nah, there's no way that the left-hand side is going to end up being 14. So let's scratch that. Scratch A as a possible solution. It's not going to work. So that's good. This is a process of elimination. Let's move on to 10. So it's going to be 4 times 10 squared, right? I'm going to plug in 10 everywhere I see x in the equation. Minus 10 equals 14. And I'm right off the bat, I'm saying to myself, there's no way this is going to work out either, because 10 squared is 10 times 10, or 100. So this is 4 times 100 minus 10. I mean, it's 400 minus 10. No way is that going to be equal to 14. So that's gone too. And the idea here also is you don't have to completely finish, all of this out. If you recognize pretty immediately that, the left-hand side is not going to equal the right-hand side, then just move on, right? Because we know time is of the essence on the GED. So now let's go and check 2, x equals 2. So I go 4 times 2 squared minus 2. Does that equal 14? So I got 2 squared, which is 2 times 2. That's 4. So I have 4 times 4 minus 2. And this kind of looks promising. I'm like, okay, maybe this looks like this might work out. So that's 16 minus 2. Is that the same thing as 14? Yes, 16 minus 2 is 14. So 14 equals 14. Wow, good to go. Okay, so this is my solution. Now, that's awesome, right? Because over here, if for those of you who said, wow, I know this is a quadratic equation, I think I remember how to do this. Let's see, 4x squared minus x equals 14. There's any number of different complicated ways, or I don't want to say semi-complicated ways to solve this. You could factor out x here, would leave you with 4x minus 1 equals 14, and then you're going to have to go through set up 2 different equations, etc., etc. So if you're under the pressure thinking, how do I solve these things, you stop. Before you take on any question in a GED, you need to stop, think about what is the question asking me, and do the answers. Can I use the answers in a process of elimination to get to pick the correct choice? And that's what it's about. Really, this is about you passing the GED. Well, listen, if some of the things I was saying, you didn't quite understand, especially with the negative numbers, positive numbers, the square, etc. Please come on over to GEDmathlessons.com. Totally free video-based course done by myself, John Zimmerman. Taught middle school all the way through high school, have a math degree, etc., etc. But the great thing about this is this site's been running for a couple years. I've literally gotten massive amounts of emails. Thank you so much. I passed the GED, and it just thrills me when I hear people that actually took the time in a comprehensive way and and built their math skills up. I mean, there's really no cheating it. You can't cheat the system. If you don't understand math that well, that doesn't mean you can't get to a point where you do have those math skills. It's really up to you. Okay, but I'm happy to help you along the way. So hopefully this little tip you'll remember when you take on the GED, and definitely you can pass. Okay, so hope to see you at GEDmathlessons.com. Have a great day.